Good morning, guys. This is View from the Pastor's Study. It is Tuesday morning, August the 3rd, 2021, and we're continuing to look at the commands of Christ from the Gospel of Luke, and we're actually going to be referring back to Mark as we do this because it gives us a little bit more info. It's just a very brief passage, 2 or 3 verses, and I'll probably reference the Luke and the Mark because it's so little, but I think it's important, and that's this. We've just finished looking at the importance of fulfilling what Christ has called us to do. He sent them out on a many great commission to go out and preach and heal and be faithful to do those things. Be faithful what Christ has called you to do. When they come back, he says this to them. He doesn't say this. He says it in Mark, but then he'll infer it in the passage in Luke. And this is what it says. And the apostles, when they had returned, told Jesus all they had done. Then he took them and went aside privately into a deserted place belonging to the city called Bethsaida. Now, they're not going to get much of a break, but let me go ahead and read you from Mark. It also says in Mark 6:30, it says this, Then the apostles gathered to Jesus and told him all things, both what they had done and what they had taught. And he said to them, and here's the command. So I think it's important we notice that Luke makes note of it as well. Come aside, this is in Mark, come aside by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while. For there were many coming and going, and they did not even have time to eat. So I don't know how you are. I know that I feel good. I value my work. I want to be known as a hard worker. I like to get a pat on the back. I like people to say, good job, Brother John, and boy, you work hard, Brother John, and oh, you're so busy, Brother John. But can I tell you something? You really have to be careful that busyness does not turn into bitterness in your life. And one of the keys that busyness will not turn into bitterness is that you take times to get alone with the Father, get alone with the Master. Just get alone. Get some quiet. That's one thing I love about being out here in the country is that I get to enjoy creation. I get to enjoy the quiet a little bit more than I did in the city. So I'm grateful for that. But you've got to find, whether you're in the city or you're in the country, you've got to find that quote unquote deserted place where you can go, grab a bite to eat, grab some quiet time, and get refreshed. Because the work never ends. It won't end until we see him face to face. The work never ends, though, of the Great Commission. So you need to make sure that you take time to retreat, get away, get refreshed, get nourished spiritually and physically, and take care of yourself. That's so very, very important. You're not in a sprint, you're in a marathon. So take Jesus' words to heart. They're not mentioned in Luke, but they're mentioned in Mark, and he says, come aside by yourself to a deserted place and rest a while. Retreat, and get refreshed. And know that when you're with Jesus, it's definitely a time of refreshing. That's all I got. But it's a lot for many of us because it's so hard for us to put the car in park and even step out of the car at times and get refreshed before we continue on our ministerial, missional, and just Christian journey. So get that. And when you do it, let me mention one other thing before we close. Make sure during those retreat times, you're just not filling your cup or filling yourself with things that are unedifying and unbiblical and unencouraging. You want to make sure that you're just not using it as an opportunity to feast on the fast food of the world spiritually. But you want to make sure you're using it as a genuine time to get real rest. So do it. Jesus is all for it. And God bless you, and you have a great Tuesday.